this computer. All right, welcome everyone. This is our once-a-month Team Rising Strong training. So we implemented this at the beginning of the year to have leaders within our team training on something that they do really well. And so we've heard from some of our other leaders already this year, and the topic that everyone thought I did really well when we kind of were discussing it, and one of the things I feel like has been a huge benefit to me is the fact that before I joined the Juice Plus company, I worked for an advertising agency and I was in a sales position. And so if you guys know anything about sales, it can be really cutthroat. It can be really hard. And the company that I worked with put me through a lot of trainings. I had required readings. I had required meetings. I had required trainings that I had to do on a regular basis just to be part of, this position within the company. And I learned so much. I always questioned why I was in this sales position. It never really felt right. It just seemed odd. And then this opportunity came up and all of a sudden I was like, wow, what if all of that I learned was really to help me with this opportunity that has came along and really transformed our family's life. So tonight I want to share with you guys some of the things that I have learned along the way within that journey and how I've been able to apply them to our business model and what that has looked like for me in creating success with my customers, within our team. And what I want you guys to know is this is so teachable. This is something that you are not born just knowing. You have to have somebody tell you this. Like I said, I read books, I attended seminars, and I did so many trainings to become educated in these different, different tactics when it comes to sharing a product, sharing whatever we're sharing with someone else. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, so you can take a look some of the tips I have for us. So tonight is just going to be titled The Basics of Sales. Our overview is going to be, first of all, we want to keep it simple, understanding the basics of sales. We're going to go over following up. I'm going to have some specific verbiage. And like I said, this is going to be recorded, so you guys can always go back and pause. And then at the end, I'm going to give you guys some tips for success. So first of all, keeping it simple. I want to share with you guys a little bit more about my story on this slide, because when I was introduced to this business, I didn't know a single person who took Juice Plus other than my family. I didn't have a single friend on Facebook who took Juice Plus. I had never been to an event. I literally knew nothing other than I've consumed this product for a long time because there's research behind it. There's scientific research. Hold on, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So there's 3 things to share. These are the 3 things that I would tell people because before I knew anything, I knew nothing about basically anything about this company or this business or this product, but I knew these 3 things. First of all, it's just food. So it's fruits and vegetables. When people would ask, what is it? I would say it's just food in a capsule, fruits and vegetables. I would tell them that it's scientifically and clinically researched, and that's why I take it. Because they'd be like, well, how does it make you feel? What do you notice different? Is it going to help with this or this? And I would say, I take it because it's scientifically and clinically researched, and I love that. That's why my family has always loved it, and we've always taken it. And then the third thing is I always would tell them, kids get it for free. For me, that was part of my story because I, as a child, got it for free. And I always felt like everybody should know that this company provides free product. And so I will tell you guys, probably the first 15 people I sold Juice Plus to, these were the only things they knew. When they would message me and ask, I would say, yeah, your kid can get it for free. Or, I don't know if it could help with what you have, but it's scientifically and clinically researched. Or they say, well, how's it different than a multivitamin? And I would say it's just food. And these were the 3 things that I built probably the first 60 to 90 days of my business on before I had any other resources. So if you're brand new into this, I want you just to remember those 3 things because it really, really can be that simple. We don't want to overcomplicate it. Okay, so let's jump in to the basic logic of sales. So the first one, people are going to spend money on whatever they think is important. And if they're not ordering from you, it's probably because they don't understand the value of what we have. I'm sure every one of us on this call have had someone that we have talked to and they've been like, I just can't afford it. It's just not in my budget. And then you watch them go on vacation to Disney World with like their family of 6. And you're like, wait, I'm so confused. It was $50 a month. We talked all of the packages and we were talking about that one and you couldn't afford it. Or they're wearing designer jeans or, just all these things that we see that happen when they told us they couldn't afford it. And so I want you to know that the reason why people don't order and they say that it's financial is really because they just don't understand what the product is and the value that it has. Because if they knew, they would know that it was definitely worth it. So our job is to make sure that they know the value of the product. All right, the next one is gonna be you share what you consume. So people are always gonna ask, what do you take? And I see this duplicate over and over and over again within our organization. We even have some lines within our organization that have only duplicated the quad. Only. Like there are people within our team who have never sold anything else because that's what they started with. And when someone asks them what they take, that's what they share. And that's just kind of what's duplicated down. And then we have other lines where it's kind of the opposite. They started with the duo and then they sold the duo and then they shared the duo with the next person and the next person. And before you know it, you get about 3 or 4 lines down. And that person, when I talk to them, they're like, I didn't even know there was berries. I didn't even know there was omegas. I didn't even know there was shakes because they never were told that. And so it's really important for us to think about that since that's a common question that we're gonna be asked. And then this is really important. I was talking to a big leader within our company, and this is one of the things I told her that I learned in my sales experience is upselling is the #1 hardest sales tactic that there is. Hands down, hardest thing you will ever be able to do, and it's even harder to teach someone to do. So if it's don't go into this mindset of like, well, I'm just gonna sell them the duo now, and then hopefully the next time their product ships, I'll be able to talk them into doing the berries. And the next time I'm sure they'll add the omegas. It just doesn't happen. And the next thing I'm going to share with you is something that I learned when I was at the home office. This statistic was provided to us, and I was there in January for a meeting, and this is what they shared. Only 3% of Juice Plus customers are upsold. And when I saw that statistic, first of all, I was like, I would totally believe that. Coming from a sales background, it's so hard to upsell. But the second thing I thought of was I looked at my personal customers. And I'm like, again, sales background, I'd say I'm pretty good at what I do when it comes to sharing this product in this business. And I could only think of one person that I had shared the product with that was a customer that had added to their order. And then that really hit me. It really made me realize like that statistic probably is really true. So think about that when you're sharing this with other people. We definitely want to always share, what we would love for them to take, just so they have that in their mindset. Okay, and the next one, it usually takes 5 to 7 exposures for someone to say yes. A lot of our team, I think this is hard for us to accept this concept because most of us said yes probably the first or the second time or the third time. We were definitely one of the earlier ones when you're on this call. And I know that there's a couple of you who've messaged me and said, I just don't understand why some people don't get it. So not everyone gets it as quickly as those of you who kind of joined us here in the beginning have, and we just have patience with them because it usually takes 5 to 7 exposures for someone to say yes. And those exposures, they may be direct, where you're communicating with them and talking with them and asking them, questions, but they may be indirect too. They may be that they saw your kid drinking a Juice Plus smoothie on Facebook, or they may saw a post that you made about the Shred 10 and thought, I wonder if that's related to Juice Plus. So there's different ways to expose people, but it's all about, how many exposures we can get in front of someone. Okay, your best prospects are your present customers. And this one I will tell you guys, I learned this one in all my sales books. Every book I've ever read is gonna address this topic when it comes to sales, is your best prospects are your present customers. And for me personally, I feel like I have made it a goal for this year to do better customer care. So I want you guys to think about, what does your customer care look like? If you're duplicating down from me, it may not be as great as it could be. And I know that next month we're hearing from Tammy Gilden. She provides amazing customer care and support to her customers, and she's going to help teach us about that. But that's something for us to really think about. I mean, these customers, some of my customers have been with me this entire 2 years of my journey. And I just thought, man, I really need to recognize them. Got one that snuck out here. Okay, and then the last thing about present customers is, how do you show your customers that you appreciate them? Is this a phone call to them? Is this a message? I mean, they're already your customers. You're not selling them anything. You just want to call and tell them that you appreciate them. I've been sending out just some customer appreciation packages. I've been trying to do it after the second or the third shipment goes out. Again, a statistic I learned at the home office is, if people are going to cancel, they're usually going to do it right after that second shipment, because they have so much product that they think, oh, I don't need this anymore. And so I try to send something out kind of at that point and congratulate them on, you're moving really forward with a great step, and, you're going on to a year of being on the product. And some of you leaders on our team saw some of the things that I like to share, samples, even just the little notes that we get in our complete. I love sending those out to my customers. Oh, and one other thing I'm going to add, Stephanie Means is on our team, and she does an amazing job with customer care as well. She likes to send postcards. Guys, it does not get any better than that. A handwritten note to tell someone how much you appreciate them and that you're there to help them if they need anything. And y'all can ask her what type of feedback she's gotten on those, because she's definitely had people that are just so blown away by how considerate she was in sending that to them. So it can be something that simple. It doesn't have to be anything big. Okay, let's move on to following up, because following up is the single most important part of the sale. Number one, most important thing, you've got to follow up. So I would say I usually follow up 3 to 4 times, or unless, I follow up the second time and they're like, I'm not interested. And then at that point, I can just take them off my list. But you really want to follow up several times. And it's because most people aren't responding because they're busy or because they forget. It's not because they don't like you and they hate Juice Plus and they're never gonna, buy it from you. I know that's what we all think when someone doesn't respond to us, but it really is because they're just busy. They got a lot. They probably have a bunch of kids doing a bunch of activities. They're probably homeschooling now with everything that's been going on. Just give them a little bit of grace and just send them a reminder. But this is something I want you guys to think about, this next sentence here. If you don't check in with them again, you're showing them that they didn't really matter. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody message me and be like, oh, hey, do you want to join, this group or this book party or something? And like I said, I saw it, when I was at dance, I didn't have a chance to respond. They never checked back in with me again. And the next time that person came top of mind, I was like, oh yeah, they invited me to that book party and then never even, checked back in with me, never even asked, if I could go again. So just remember that we want people to know that they really do matter to us, that we really do care. And that's really, really important. So that's going to come down to event invites. If you ask someone to watch a video, or product offers, like if you're sharing with them, the Healthy Starts for Families or our summer promo, like you can't just send an invite and hope that they got it. Like you definitely want to remind them and just say, hey, I sent you an invite last week to the Tower Garden event. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see it. Did you have questions? Are you going to be able to attend? Just really emphasize the fact that you care and you just want to check back in with them. So a verbiage example to someone that I have followed up with several times, and either they haven't given me a straight answer, so they're kind of, darting around or asking me other questions, or maybe they've like totally ghosted me. So I've messaged them like 2 or 3 times and I haven't heard from them. I'm going to use this line. So I'm going to be like, hey, I just wanted to check in one more time. I'm going to go ahead and take you off my list because it doesn't sound like Juice Plus is something you're interested in anymore. No worries at all. I'm happy to answer your questions if they come up later on. I will tell you guys that I use this line probably, I usually try to do it at the end of the month, as I'm like literally clearing out my list of people that I've talked to. And every single time I have sent this, people respond. They feel like there's an obligation to reach back out to you because, first of all, you're letting them off the hook. You're saying, oh, no worries. I just want you to know I'm going to take you off my list. And they don't really like that. They usually will come back and they'll tell me the real reason why they haven't responded. Oftentimes it's, oh gosh, I'm so busy. I haven't even had a chance to watch that video you sent. I've just been busy. So I am interested. Don't forget about me. Or it's, the truth starts coming out of, I can't afford it. I just don't really feel like it's a good fit for our family because I have 5 kids. And then you have a reason and you have an opportunity to kind of go and, further investigate that. Or the next time they kind of circle back around, kind of the pain point to kind of touch on. So anyways, that's a great line. If you guys have people on your list, don't leave them on there forever. Let them know, hey, I know you talked to me about it. I know you said you were interested, but it doesn't really seem like you are if you're not getting back to me. And then this one is one of my favorite videos I have ever seen when it comes to following up. And Allie Schneider did a training, and several of the things that I touched on in here are from her training, but it is absolutely amazing. I watch it. I try to watch it several times a year just as a refresher. So if you have never seen Fall in Love with the Follow-Up, y'all can check it out. It's on the Heat Team's YouTube channel, and you have access to all the trainings that have been done on there, and that is a really, really good one. So let's talk about some verbiage that we can be using when we're messaging people, when we're at events. What type of things could we be saying? So first of all, you have to ask for the sale. At the event, you have to ask them to order at the end. When you send a message, it's great to be direct with them. So which package do you think is going to be the best fit for your family? I could not believe when I got into this business and I started talking to people that were, sidelines and things like that. And they were like, I just can't figure out why I don't get any orders. And I was like, okay, well, tell me about your event. And they're like, well, everybody comes and we hang out, and we do videos, and then they leave, and then I check in with them and I just can't get any orders. And I was like, well, did you ask them? Did you ask them to order? And they're like, well, no, I figured, if they were interested, they would let me know. And I was like, no. That's not how this works. I'm like, first of all, if any of you have ever tried to navigate our personal websites, like it is not easy, guys. People you need help doing that for sure. But if you don't ask them to order, they're not going to. So just always make sure you're asking for the sale. Hey, stop please, Ryder. Okay, always end with a question. So if you're sending somebody a message, maybe you're talking to them on the phone, and you're really trying to, keep the conversation going, the best way to keep the conversation going is by asking a question. There is nothing that stops a conversation more than like, let me know if you're interested, or let me know if you have questions. So here's some great questions to ask. Have you heard of Juice Plus before? So this is like the easiest one to sneak in there when, someone responds to a poll on your story, or someone says, oh, I'm interested. Can you send me information? I'll be like, yeah, sure. Here's a little bit of a tidbit. Here's a video. Have you heard of Juice Plus before? So even if they don't watch the video, that's super easy to respond back and say, yeah, my neighbor from years ago had it, or I've never heard about it before. That kind of gets things going and kind of gives you a basis of whether or not they're knowledgeable about the product. This is a great one. Do you have children between the ages of 4 through 18 or in college? If you don't know them on a super personal level, this is a really good question to ask. So then you can, inform them about our health study. This is a good one. Do you get more than 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? I always usually use this one when people are like, oh yeah, I eat a ton of fruits and vegetables. I definitely don't need this. I'm like, and I always tell them like, wow, that's really amazing. Do you feel like you get 10 or more servings every single day? And then I usually tell them that even though I eat really well, I tend to fall short of that number. And then this is a good one too. Does your family currently take a multivitamin? Because we know that the majority of America takes some sort of multivitamin. And this is something that a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I've tried a bunch of them, or yes, I currently have this one, or they will definitely have some type of answer for you. Okay, and then the next thing is assuming the sale. So I don't know if you guys just automatically know what that means, but to assume the sale means they are going to order. You know that, you shared all the research, they're definitely ordering. So when you talk to them, you're saying, hey, I know that, this is really great. Do you want the chocolate shakes or do you want the vanilla? Like, obviously they're gonna order the shakes. We just tasted them, everybody loved them. Which are you gonna order? I know we've talked about Juice Plus before. Are you ready to get started? Like, just assuming, like, hello, you talked to me about it 3 times before. Are you ready to get started yet? So just really being confident that there is nothing else out there that compares to this product. And we should just assume that if we presented them the correct information, it should be a no-brainer for them to say yes. So always assume that the answer is going to be yes, absolutely, until you hear otherwise. So these are going to be some of my tips for success for you guys. So sales is all about numbers. All about numbers, guys. A total numbers game when it comes to sales. So let's think about number of orders last month. How many orders did you put in last month? Usually that number is reflective of the number of people you talked to and shared the product with. How many people joined your team? So how many new partners did you have last month? If you didn't ask anybody to be part of your team, the answer is always going to be 0. So just keep that in mind. It's all about the number of people that you talk to. So number of people on your list to message in June. So I wanted you guys to think about this one. I posted on the team page about making a list with 10 people on it. I will tell you that my personal list had 25 names on it. And I reached out to every single one of them last week with a message about this opportunity with the Healthy Starts for Families. The more people that are on your list, the more people that you invite to an event, the more people that you're talking to, the better your chances are going to be. And how about the number of customer care calls you've done this month or check-ins with your teammates? This is one that I actually keep track of and take a look at because I was finding that some months I just wasn't doing nearly enough customer care calls or calls with some of our partners who are really new into our business. So they probably need a little bit more customer care just because they're kind of like a glorified customer. They might only have 1 or 2 orders. And so that really matters too. And then this is a fun fact, guys. I want you guys to think about this. So to become a national marketing director within our company, you need a minimum of 46 working partners on your team. 46 working partners. So I will tell you guys this. When I made national marketing director, I had a lot more than 46 people on my team, which means I've asked a lot more than that to be part of our team. And you can only imagine, with the number of people who said yes, how many people said no. So think about it in those terms. I know some of you are going for qualification. So you need, 4 more orders this month to be qualified? Maybe we need to be talking to like 20 people this month to get those 4 orders. Maybe you're going for QSC and you need that 1 person to join your team. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe it'll be the first person you talk to. But chances are you're going to have to talk to maybe 3 people, maybe 5 people. You're going to have to really, just get after it because sales is really, it's a numbers game. And I will tell you that when it comes to the number of conversations you're having, it really does matter. Okay, so learn from the people who tell you no. This is really important because we're gonna get a lot of no's, and that's okay. It's a learning opportunity every single time you get a no. So did you provide them? Hey, stop, please. Stop. Stop. Did you provide them enough information for them to make an educated decision? That's really a big question, because if you provided them everything to make that decision and they still said no, that's totally okay. But what I find often is people are saying no to me because I didn't provide them enough information. Like they don't understand how this could impact their health or the health of their family. So did you follow up with them? You know, if they said no, I mean, did you check in? I mean, did you just assume that it's a no because you hadn't heard from them? But that's a really big one too. And like I said, be indirect. Just say, hey, you know, I just want to check in and see if you're ready to get started. And this is one, were you too aggressive? So I can say guilty over here, guys. There has definitely been times where I have gone into a conversation and just been way too strong because I wanted them. They needed this so bad, guys, and they just didn't know it. But I knew it, and I was just too strong. And then they said no. They just shut me down. I'm not interested. Don't talk to me about it anymore, Alexis. Or are you on the opposite end of the spectrum? Did they tell you no and you didn't even ask why? I mean, you don't even know because you were just shy and you just didn't even want to say anything and they just said no. And so just try to figure out what that no means and learn from it, because I can tell you guys, it only took me losing one friend, one person in my life that said, I never want to talk to you again. And I learned real quick that that was not something that I ever wanted to happen again. And so learn from the no's. And then the last thing is it takes a lot of practice to be good at sales. It takes a lot of practice, guys. I had years and years of experience and years of training before this opportunity came up. And then now, like I said, look at how many conversations I have had to get to the point where I'm at. I have had the opportunity to be a wellness coordinator for multiple people on our team. So I've had conversations with their customers. I've done so many three-way calls. I mean, the experience that I have is so extensive because of the number of conversations I've had and the number of times I've put myself out there and asked the questions and shared the product and shared the business. So just know that every single conversation you have is teaching you something, and it's allowing you to move forward. So just embrace it, guys. Just know that it's a process and it's definitely a skill to be learning. So that is everything that I have as far as my slides go. I actually had some other things that maybe we'll talk about once we get back into doing like events in person. I actually have like a whole list of specific things that I like to do at in-person events when it comes to, you know, closing the deal and asking for sales and the verbiage that I use. But I felt like the things I shared tonight would be really helpful in the situation that we're all in right now and some of the conversations that we're having. And I know that oftentimes it can be really defeating. And so I just want you guys to feel encouraged and to know that it's a learned skill. You've got to practice it. And there's a lot of people who are here on our team and in our organization that want to help you. So I would love if any of you guys have any questions. I had to laugh. Stephanie and Kristen, y'all are definitely too. You're like me. We tend to be a little bit on the aggressive side when it comes to the people that we really love, because we really know that this could change their life. And so I hope this was helpful. And that you guys had a chance to think about some of this. And like I said, it's recorded. So if you guys want to go back, pause certain areas, if there's partners on your team that you want to share it with, you absolutely can.